Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today is going to be a more serious topic, how to turn $5,000 into $1 million. And a lot of people will BS you. A lot of people will try you and not really give you the source, but you already know that you came to the right place for the real source. So like, comment, and subscribe because we'll get straight into it. Now, I do want to tell you that there's always going to be a little bit of luck involved. I don't want you to think that we're just out here the smartest people in the world and that there's no luck. But there is a little bit of luck, but that luck came, at least with me, with hard work. If you don't like to work hard, if you want to find an easier way to do these things, then don't listen to me because that's all I know. So if you want somebody who is a little bit more lucky than me and doesn't have to work as hard, then listen to Grant Cardone or something. But I have to work a little bit hard to get to where I'm at. So with that being said, how to turn 5,000 into $1 million. All right, let's talk about it. So when I had $5,000 getting started, I already told you, you already know my story. We started with the stock market, put $2,000 in the stock market. But now I'm going to tell you how I would get started today. How would I get started today? So in order to get started today, I can't just rely on the stock market, but we do need the stock market for the first step. So as you all know, I'm a dividend stock growth investor. That means I focus on stocks that grow and pay a dividend. It must grow and pay a dividend. But when I first got started, I did a lot of day trading. I did a lot of swing trading. I did a whole bunch of different types of trading. Why is that? I needed to understand everything and understand how it flowed and understand how it goes. Now, a lot of people will just tell you, oh, I can start day trading tomorrow, swing trading tomorrow, and I'll get to where I want to be in a year, which is true. But you don't understand how much knowledge and experience that they needed in order to get there. So I could literally tell you the same thing. I could tell you that I can start day trading after about 3 days because it would take me about 3 days to analyze the market. And then I would start to day trade. Then I would start to swing trade a lot of these deals. I would focus on stocks like Apple, Tesla, maybe Amazon or Google. I would hone in on those 4 stocks. And then I would look at the more volatile stock options and see where they're going. Where's the highs? Where's the lows? These are the risks that a lot of my friends are still taking today, and they're unsuccessful. But me, I'm more of a systematic approach type of guy. I'm looking at the lower levels. I'm looking at, is it almost at the bottom? And then I'm shooting for small gain, small gain, small gain, trying to get $100, $200, $300 every single day. When I was in college, it was so much easier. I don't know why. I don't know why it was so much easier. After a class, a 20, 30-minute class, I would just turn on my phone, look, analyze a stock, boom, sell it. I think that's why, because as you're going in between classes, I could always look at the stock market. I can always talk to my friends about the stock market. And so there was even more heads than one. But now when you're in a working class, when you're in the working world, you're kind of working all throughout the day. You get your little breaks here and there, but you're not analyzing like that. Do I know people who are still swing trading and day trading? Absolutely. But again, for me, it worked very, very well, 200 a day, 200 a day, 200 a day. So what we'll do now is talk about how to do this in a year's time frame, because I want to be realistic. Some people will tell you that they can make $1 million in 30 days. Well, I wish I was capable of doing that. But let's talk about a year time frame and see how we can get there with $5,000. So I want you to also understand that when I say there's luck involved, there was a lot of different factors for luck. For example, when I started investing, that was around 2015, 2016. I've never seen a down year, and I don't believe that the stock market has ever had a down year since I started investing. So that means from 2015 to 2024, we've had 9 years of great growth in the stock market. So I don't really know what a recession truly looks like, or what a depression really looks like in the stock market. All I've seen was exponential growth, and I've been able to ride that to the top. I'm day trading, swing trading, and everything's going up. Everything's going up in quick succession. Also, understand that when I bought real estate, interest rates were the lowest that they've ever been. And therefore, historically, I bought at the greatest time to ever buy outside of 2008, when the prices were significantly depreciated and low. And therefore, again, luck, luck, luck. I've had a bunch of it, right? So now let's talk about you turning 5,000 into a million. You're going to start with the stock market. You have to, because it's the quickest and most volatile way of getting some cash. What do we want to do? We want to get up to about $15,000. So in order to do that, we're going to start with our big companies that are able to take upward swings, because we want growth. We don't want things that are going to keep crashing down. And so I'm not your financial advisor, just want to put that out there. But these are the things that I did. I've made $700 in a day on Apple stock doing options trading. Would I tell others to do options trading? Absolutely not. But day trading, swing trading, that's less risky. I can consider it, especially when you're as young as I am still, and you're trying to get to that number as quickly as possible. So if you're going to day trade or swing trade, you want to make sure that these are companies that you know are primed for growth, companies that are probably depreciated at the moment and are looking for an upward swing. What do I mean by that? If I see Apple going down for 4 days straight and there's no reason for it, there's no news about it and why it should be going down, then that is a means to buy, and buy a lot, and buy big. In fact, I might just do an options trade on that to shoot to the moon. You know why? Because that's easy money, big money coming my way. Those are the things that I look at. Those are the things that I've analyzed over time. Those are the things that you have to hone in on. And when I say hyper focus, I mean hyper focus on just a few stocks, not every single stock in the market. So now, when you swing big like that, there's a lot of emotions involved. If you're an emotional person, if you don't really understand your feelings, if you don't understand the pressure that comes with being up $1,000 in a day, you're not ready for that type of life. You're not ready. You won't be able to handle it. There's so many factors that come into that. But if you do it right, it should only take you about 9 good days to make it, and that's going to include that's going to include the weekends as well. So we're not saying 9 business days, we're talking 9 days in general, right? And that means you were able to analyze these stocks over a short period of time and understand where the growth was to be had. And typically I'm going to do a call option rather than a short, because that's just what's been working for me. Now, I don't options trade anymore, and again, I don't advocate for it. But again, if you're trying to make $5,000 into $1 million in a year, this is what you need to do. So in 9 days, we've been able to get 15 grand. All right, how do we now capitalize off of it? Now, this depends on your market. And again, I invested when there was interest rates that were so low that it made no sense. You don't have that. All right. Now what you can do is, what is it called? When you sell a property that is already belonging to someone else. It's almost like a short sale, but it's not a short sale. I already made a video on it, but everybody knows what I'm talking about. When it comes to me, we'll talk about it more. But essentially, you are holding the mortgage to the property, and you're going to get another buyer for the property, and then you're going to sell the property for another profit, right? So maybe it's a $5,000 profit or a $10,000 profit. You're just looking to be the middleman in between. Now, I don't advocate for this, and the reason why is not because it doesn't work. It absolutely does. My cousin does this all the time. I just haven't done it myself. So instead, we're going to go with my route. We're going to look for appreciation. we're actually going to look to improve the property as well. So what I would say is go ahead and find yourself a $150,000 property. First property I ever bought was $150,000. So if you tell me, hey Festus, you can't buy a property for that much, you're wrong. Now my property is worth about $200,000. That just one property is worth $200,000. And so what does that tell you? In about a few years, the appreciation is there. And I didn't have to do anything to it because it was already remodeled and refurbished and ready to go. So I like already remodeled properties. And with $15,000, you don't have the money to fix it up. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to put $10,000 down. On a $200,000 property, that's 5%. But on a $150,000 property, that's more than 5% with $10,000 down. And then you're going to put some money down on, actually you're not putting money down on closing costs. You're going to have the seller pay your closing costs and take $5,000 off the property. So that $150,000 property is now $145,000, and you got your closing costs paid for. And now you have about $8,000 in your bank account, and you got a tenant in there that's giving you about $400 a month in cash flow. Go hard. Now, okay, you got $8,000, $400 in cash flow coming in, and we're on month number 2. A lot of you don't even realize that now you have $400 in cash flow, but you also have principal pay down going down on the property because the mortgage is $600 a month. The tenant is paying $1,000 a month. And of that $600, you have about $120 going towards principal, something like that. All right, cool. Now, you already have equity. You already have wealth. You already have principal pay down, and you already have some cash flow, $400 a month. We go back to the stock market. We go back to the stock market with $8,400. All right. We replicate this one more time. This is where the luck comes in. It's easy to do it the first time because not only do you have beginner's luck on your side, but you've analyzed those properties with laser focus. And actually the hardest reason why this is going to suck is because now you have some money. What happens when you have money, at least for me, I start to get more negligent. You see, when I have less money and I'm doing something, it's so much easier for me to win. So for example, when I have $10,000 and I'm swing trading or I'm day trading or I'm making that first options call, I might be up 11,000 in the first day. In fact, it is almost guaranteed that I will be. But when I start to get cocky, when I start to get a little full of myself, I'm at 18,000, I need to just get that last 2 to get to 20. That's when you start to see a little drop. Why? Is because I'm a little full of myself. I'm ready to take a risk that's unadvised. I'm doing things that I'm really not supposed to be doing. And so what I would tell somebody who is kind of like me is to shoot for a higher goal. Shoot for 30. And when you get to 25, you pull that money out. So in this junction, I'm going to say you shot for 25 and you pulled out at 20. This took you a lot longer this time around. Why is that? One is more money, and then 2, you got a little cocky, so you were up and down a little bit. This took you a whole month to complete. Now, mind you, the sale of a home and acquiring a home also takes a month. So that means we're at 2.5 months now because, again, we started 9 days ago. We bought a property that takes 30 days. For me, it takes about 28 days. But then we were in the stock market for a whole month. All right. And this is all while potentially working to pay your bills and offset all of your living expenses. So we're at 2.5 months. We now go and buy another real estate property. This time, bigger and better. That's my mindset. I can only tell you what I do. I don't want to buy the same amount that we bought before. So if you bought for 140, 145, 150, this time is 200, 180, something around that ballpark. So when we go into the deal, it's $200,000 property we get for 190, and we get $3,000 in closing costs. They wouldn't budge. They wouldn't give us the full $5,000. Okay, cool. We're in there. Tenants paying $1,800 a month. Property is giving us about $550 in cash flow, and the principal paid down is about $300 a month on top of that. So now you got that principal pay down, you got the cash flow coming in, and you now have about $900 in active income coming your way. You did not put more than 5% down. Let's say you put 7% down, and then you had maybe $5,000 left over after closing costs and everything else. And again, the seller gave you $3,000 towards that closing cost. So you have $7,000. You have $900 in active income coming in. You have some principal pay down coming your way. And now we're back to the stock market. This is going to be the last time that we utilize the stock market because, again, these are risks, high risk for high reward situations. This is what you will have to do in order to get ahead. So there's other things that I want to throw out there that you can also do. It's not going to get you rich as fast, but here's a few things that I noted down that have been great for me in my life so far. 1, I was in the Army, so I received some benefits. 2, I love the stock market, and so I utilized that. 3, real estate has always been good to me. 4, music has also brought in some income for me. 5, YouTube. I'm not making money on YouTube right now, but I am making money on Rumble, and so shout out to them. 6, Series I bonds. I have money in Series I bonds that were generating 7% and should be down to about 5% now. And then lastly, certificates of deposits. Certificates of deposits are not truly investments that will make you wealthy, but they are investments that can shield you from huge losses and just give you a little bit of growth here and there over time that are a little bit better than the savings account, but you do have to hold your money in there for long periods of time. With that being said, let's get back to our scheduled program on how to make $1 million in 1 year. So now that we're back to business, we are now looking for the big play. All right, before the goal was 30,000, we didn't quite get there. Now we're looking for a goal of 40,000. This time we get to about 32,000 and we stop. Again, the reason why we didn't get to 40,000 because when you get too ahead of yourself, there's a problem that starts to occur. Now, this whole time I didn't even realize that I was thinking single family, single family, single family. And the reason why I was thinking single family is because that's all I own. But this time we're going to get into multifamily. And the reason why I'm talking about multifamily is because that's the space that I'm going to get into. And I believe that that is a good and necessary step next for everyone else. Now, I had to get appreciation over a 3-year period. You don't have that luxury because we are trying to do this in 1 year. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to need places that appreciate very, very quickly, very, very rapidly, and have a lot of growth. You know what's going to happen with that? There's going to be a lot of competition. But don't worry, you have $32,000 and you have the experience of negotiating two good deals. Now, some people might be asking right now, how are you going to get a third property in 1 year and you only put 5% down? That's a great question. You see, a lot of people don't even think that far, but you did, and you're 18 minutes in, so I'm going to explain. So for me, you obviously can't do this. You're going to have to figure out different strategies and different ways if you're going to do this in a year. But what I did first and foremost is when I bought my first property, I lived in it for not even a month. I went into the Army, and when I left, I was able to buy another property. It was during wartime, and so it was in under a year. And because of that, I already had a tenant living in the property that I was in. I couldn't necessarily live in the same property with my tenant, and so I was able to buy another house within a year. It wasn't even a year. So in the Army, you'll see people move from station to station. You could be stationed somewhere for 3 months, buy a property, and then move, be stationed somewhere for 3 months, buy a property and move. You can literally buy 4 properties in a year, all because of your job and occupation. So if you're a car salesman and you're traveling state to state, if you're a salesman, period, and you're traveling state to state, if you're a CEO and you're always constantly on the move, whatever it may be, that your job changes with the wind, guess what? You're able to buy a property because you have a reason for why you're buying this property. And the first thing they'll ask you is, do you want to sell your first home? And you'll say no. And you can buy up to 4 primary residents that way without having to do the 20% down. So you don't have to be in the Army. You just need to have a valid reason for why you're not at the location that you're at. And so for multifamily, for me, if I was to buy it in the same year, I would say, hey, my family is expanding. I want everybody to be able to live in the same home. And a multifamily home is the way that I was going to do it. And they're going to say, hey, so why not sell X, Y, and Z? Well, I got it at a good price. I can rent it out fairly well. And so that's exactly what I want to do. Makes sense? Makes sense. Good deal. And again, luck was on my side. Everybody needs a little bit of luck. So let's get straight to it. Now, you have $32,000. Like I said, we always go big. We always go big. So we're looking at $250,000 to about $300,000 now. $250,000 to $300,000. And we're going to put 10% down. We're going to have closing costs covered by the seller, and we're going to take $5,000 off of the property. So let's say it was a $300,000 property. We're now taking $5,000 off. It's $295,000. So that means we paid $2,905, and we got $5,000 in closing costs. So that really took away all of our income. Actually, it took all of our income to just barely buy that property. All right. So now you have a duplex, and that duplex, because you put a little bit more money down, is going to cash flow about $700 a month for you. Not as much as the last property that was cash flowing. Actually, it is a little bit more than the last property. And now you have about $1,600 a month coming in cash flow, and you have, let's say that one is giving you $400 in principal pay down. So now you're looking at about $1,300 a month in principal pay down as well. That's giving you about $2,900 a month overall. All right. But you have no money to invest in the stock market. So the first time you get $2,900, here's what you do. $2,000 goes into savings. $900 goes into investing. $2,000 in savings, $900 into investing. $2,000 in savings, $900 in investing. Now we're at about $2,100 or so in investments, and we have about $6,000 in savings. All right. I'm just assuming that your job itself is breaking you even. Breaking you even. All right. $6,000 in savings, $2,100 in investing. At this point, 3 months have just gone by. We're already more than half of the way towards the end of the year. So let's do a recap now, because we're about 6.5 months in. We have 3 properties. We have only $2,100 in investments and $6,000 in savings. All right. Now we're at a point where we're going to start to take a little bit less risk. And that's why I started putting more money into savings, because that's what I also did mentally, because I took a lot of risk early. In fact, I didn't have $10,000 left over to go into the stock market when I was doing my investments, because I put everything into the real estate in order to get the lowest price I could possibly get on the monthly payment in order to cash flow so great. All right. So now in my mind, I'm just now seeing that the cash flow is good enough to where I can relax a little bit. Right. And so now I'm putting my mind off the gas. Now I'm pedaling off the gas. But I'm telling you, I was so hungry that I wasn't even eating anything outside of rice and beans. In fact, I won't lie to you, I was a restaurant manager. So all I ate was at the restaurant, and I had nowhere else to be but the restaurant. I was working 7 days a week. So again, that's not luck. That is a lot of hard work and a lot of sleepless nights, and honestly, a lot of pain and suffering. But it stopped me from eating out, so I didn't have to pay for that. Only thing I really had to do is pay for gas. Light bill was super, super low because I was never home and I was always asleep. And so all the food I ate was always at work. But that's just another side story. So that means my income was also helping me to get up there. But we're doing it where the income just keeps you flatlined, because I'm assuming that your income is keeping you flatlined right now, right? And so we only have $5,000 to work with, and that's how we're going to get there. All right, cool. So now you have more than just what we are used to. You have more than what you started with in your savings in 3 months, right? You have $2,100 in stocks. You have a $300,000 house. Let's just say $295 because that's where you purchased it and it's the same year. You have a $145,000 house, and you have a $295,000 house. So 145 plus 295 is how much? 395, about 430. And then you have the 295 house, which is going to be 430 plus 295 is going to be what? 5, 6, about 720. You're around 720,000. So now you need about $280,000 left, and you have 5 months to do it. 285 months. To be honest, this is the easy part. This is the easy part. Some of you may be watching my video and you're 30, you're 40, maybe you're 20. If you're in your 30s or 40s, you probably heard something called your Roth IRA and 401k. You might have already woke up and you might see $100,000 in there already. You might see $200,000 in there already. So you're already a millionaire. But if you're in your 20s or 30s or even 40s or 50s and you don't have that money, all right, now it is time to level it up. Level it up, baby. So check it out. You can put maybe $50,000 into each one of these properties and increase something to get you to $280,000. So for example, if I just get my cash flow right and my savings right, and over the next 5 months, dump that into the middle property that is at like let's say 180 to 200. And other properties in that area is around 300,000 because it has an extra bedroom or extra bathroom. A $10,000 payment, which you can easily make, is going to increase the value by so much more. But all we need to do is buy another property that's around 280 and we're golden. Now for me, I haven't even used my VA loan. So if you're in the Army like I was, I can literally still right now buy a property with zero money down. Hello. That's your 300,000 right there, because you have the active income, you have the cash flow, you have everything. So what did I just tell you? You can buy 4 properties, didn't I, as a primary residence? So closer to the end of the year, all we're doing, we're not even going to take money out of the stock market. We're going to continue to put a little $900 in there. We're going to continue to put $2,000 in the savings. All right. So 4 months in, that's 2, 4, 6, 8, $8,000 in the savings. I don't even know how much is in the stock market at this point, but we have 30 days left to close on the deal. So that means with $8,000, I'm going to buy a $280,000 house. So that means that has to at least equate to 3%, 3.5% down. Or we can get some of that closing costs to be paid, and some of the buyer, we can get the buyer to pay some of the costs as well. This might not be the best area or the best neighborhood. This may be a house that has been sitting on the market for a long time, but is going to get the job done. Here's a few things that I want you to also take into consideration, because you might also be thinking, how is he able to do all this? This can't happen. I didn't really share the sweet secret sauce with you. First off, as a first-time home buyer on that very first property that you bought, you could have went way bigger than a $140,000, $150,000 property. And as a first-time home buyer for your first home, you could have also had an incentive on your closing costs. So therefore, you could have even gotten $500 back. On top of that, you could have gotten additional seller credit. On top of that, we could have talked about USDA loans, where you could have went to a rural area and bought a property that is incentivized by the banking system. On top of that, there are loans for minorities and disadvantaged that you can get $20,000. My aunt got $20,000 in order to help her close on her first property. So now she has even more equity than before. You could have had all that equity in a house just by buying in certain areas like New York. So now that we're talking, there are properties in Ohio right now that I can buy and get $7,500 for. On top of me negotiating and doing everything else, the bank will hand me $7,500. So we didn't really get into the loans, the structures, how to really maximize your money. I was simply going off of $5,000 and how I was going to do it. But listen, if you had did that, that would have made everything else easy. Imagine not having to go back to the stock market to double your money. Imagine the government just handing it to you. You would have saved yourself a month already and be able to purchase another property. Do you understand what I'm saying? So there's a lot of risk that you actually didn't have to take from the very, very beginning when you start to expand your mind, expand your education, and expand your understanding. And so there's a lot to be learned. There's a lot to be said. There's a lot to be done. But take it step by step, take it day by day, and make $1 million fucking dollars. All right. If you like this video, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. You know I post every single day at 8 a.m. daily on YouTube and on Rumble, and I can't wait to see you on the next one. Peace.